Did you guys notice how on Twitter everyone was complaining about the power outage? It's so weird how many people posted about the same thing. It's like everyone thinks and does the same thing now.
It's probably because they didn't know anything else about the power outage. Like, all they knew was that the power was out. They had no other information.
And that people, like, nowadays, they only get their information from TV. Like, they just watch the news, but that's not really what we're looking for. That's just facts.
It's just kind of like the media culture. It seems like it's just happening everywhere now.
Well, television is so entertaining that it just makes life go by faster.
Well, it's kind of like internet, how we watch all these stupid videos and there's all these stupid things, but there's really no value to them except for entertainment, and we just watch it because we think they're funny, but there's really no quality of knowledge in them. It's just facts and stupid stuff that make us laugh.
I don't know if this is just because I was a weird kid, but when I was a kid, I always remember watching all these documentaries on, like, Discovery Channel and stuff. It was, like, an hour and a half long and, like, really in-depth information, and now all you see on TV is, like, random people talking about really shallow stuff that doesn't matter.
And the documentaries that are on, like, History Channel are really stupid about aliens that are in basements.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like it's more focused on, like, happiness and entertainment rather than, like, actually getting the value of information.
And there's so much information that we can't really process it.
Yeah, and this is especially evident sort of like on the internet, where there's just like everything is on the internet, and you can't tell what's true and you can't tell what's not true.
But the thing is, people, when they see it, because it's on the internet, they think it's true.
Yeah, we've really grown, as a society, we've really grown to think that everything on the internet is true.
This really affects our children and us because we're growing up inside this age of technology, and children and teenagers have developing minds, so it's going to really affect them and our children.
Well, so if it affects all of us, then who can change?
Well, in the future, it'll be interesting to see, like, because the adults of today, they didn't grow up with technology, so they're kind of a little bit against it, and they're kind of not engaged in it as much as we are. But we are really engaged in it, so it'll be interesting to see, like, the next generation, if we're, like, trying to limit them from using too much technology, or if we'll be so much engaged in it, it'll be like the books we read.
The only way that it seems like we can stop this from just like continuing and getting even worse is if a whole bunch of people talk out about how they don't like this trend and they want it to stop.
Yeah, if the government or large party decides to encourage people to raise their children using books instead of in-depth television and internet, and like letting internet and television and social media shape their lives, then that could really have an impact on children.
But that would be hard because the whole purpose of the government doing that is so that they want to persuade the citizens in their own beliefs, and they want them to think of what they think is true.
Yeah, they're really abusing their powers, like companies too, who are trying to push like a product to the public because they don't have the knowledge to understand it.
Yeah, it really is the governments and the big companies that benefit from this flaw. Because if their consumers don't really know that much, then they'll be more accepting to whatever you tell them, and they'll just believe it's true.
I feel like I'm accepting that we're kind of ignorant towards this, that some people, they do realize what we're doing, but some people, because of their ignorance, they don't realize what they're doing, and it's really easy for them to just believe everything.
It's kind of like the pedestrian, how he was like an outsider in the society because he was just walking outside. And how people of today, like, if like there's a kid outside, it's kind of weird because everyone seems to be like inside now, engaged in things inside rather than things that are outside.
Yeah, if we keep doing this, it's kind of like my mom. All she does is watch TV, her Russian TV, all day long, and she's kind of becoming like Mildred, and all her ideas come from television.
It's interesting.
Yeah, like when I was a kid, I remember going outside with all my friends, mainly you guys actually, and like just like throwing pine cones at each other and like playing soccer and all that stuff. But these days, if you see someone out on the street, you're more likely to arrest them than to like just think that they're like part of normal society.
Yeah, even we've been questioned for being outside during the summer.
And it seems like the only way that people could stop this from happening, like the way that there's all these people staying inside, is if individual parents opt not to raise their kids just solely on television.
Yeah, because television has it's passive information, so you don't control what you're learning. and you don't have time to or you don't have time to analyze and question what's being force fed to you because it's just there.
And the more and more people that raise their children like that, it'll begin to change society and redirect the course that we're currently on.
So if we have the power of the majority, and if more people start to do it because of an individual, then that could start to save our society.
And the way that this information is sort of being controlled on these television networks and social media sites is sort of reminiscent of Snowden and the way that he revealed the NSA for spying on everyone and controlling the information that was released.
The information, is like valuable to us. Like we are really interested in that because what they're doing, we don't support, but the government's trying to hide it, and they can do that with the technology we have in our society today.
Yeah, and he mentioned that he revealed the information because he thought that it would put people at risk. It was putting the American public at risk that they didn't know this information, and that everyone should know it.
So it kind of shows the morality of that we want to know what we're doing and we want our own freedom, but the government's going to try to shut down us and try to hide everything from us just for their own benefit and purpose.
It's really weird how people are noticing these problems in our society. Even students in high school, like in our class, are noticing these flaws in society, but we don't do anything about it, and it's getting worse and worse every decade that we go along.
Yeah, and the way that we read these books is a really good example because we've been taught to analyze them so well that we sort of understand these ideas, whereas like other English teachers will be like, well, Fahrenheit 451 isn't relevant anymore because nobody burns books. Or
Thanks,
like,
Mr. Lovell.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Lovell.
So I guess school could be like a place or an environment where we could change and people could start to look at things from a different perspective.
And we didn't just learn to analyze them, but we learned how they relate to our society, and I think that's really important.
Especially if tests start to focus more on like understanding instead of specific information. It could change the way that our society thinks.